Welcome to part 2 of the Transportation Training Module, Person First Language. We will begin with a short video to describe Person First Language and its importance when working with students with exceptionalities.
What is Person First Language? Person First Language puts the person ahead of any disability identifier, meaning a person who has autism or a person with an intellectual disability. Why is this important? A person with a disability is a person first. People with disabilities do not want to be seen first and foremost by their disability. It devalues their inherent uniqueness and personhood. Additionally, a person who uses an assistive device is not bound by it. A person who uses a wheelchair, for example, is much freer to move around this world because of their chair. This stems from the social model of disability. A person is disabled by lack of access to their community and environment, not their impairment. Another common model is the medical model, which typically sees the person from a diagnostic point of view. Another common model is the charity model. This posits interventions or policies are done in the best interest of the person with a disability, without including them or their experiences in the decision-making process. Also, using terms like mentally retarded, handicapped, are disrespectful and possibly hurtful. Always ask the person how they choose to identify, but default to Person First Language if you don't know. What is Person?
Language is important. Person First Language puts the person first and the disability second. It is important that all individuals within a school system, including transportation operators, emphasize the students and not their disabilities. Using Person First Language helps focus on the individual rather than the disability. It signifies that we view students as more than their disability. In actuality, a disability is just one small part of who a student is. Person First Language emphasizes abilities, not disabilities or limitations. Person First Language shifts everyone's mindset, including the students. It is important for students to understand that they may have many abilities, and a disability does not limit or define who they are. Practice Person First Language always and everywhere. Whether you are talking to other adults and students, or whether you are inside or outside of the classroom setting, you become a model for Person First Language and respectful practices. How do we begin using Person First Language? First, begin a habit of using terms such as students with disabilities or students with exceptionalities, instead of labeling a group as special ed kids or the autistic students. Practice using these terms all the time. Whenever possible, avoid using labels altogether. Refer to students simply as students. Finally, think closely about how you speak to students. Use age-appropriate language. Students benefit from age-appropriate vocabulary and conversations. Take a few minutes to locate and complete the Person First self-assessment in your guided notes. Your score is simply for your own knowledge and does not need to be shared. Strive to achieve expert level in the future. When you are finished with the self-assessment, be sure to complete the questions underneath Part 2 before moving on to Part 3.